true, Auntie, being nosy over there.
Oh, shush, bub. I'm listening to the podcast. God, go and do your own work.
Kia ora tātou, and welcome to Tama Whareoa's first episode of Māmā podcast. Today we are joined by Lily Muffy.
Kia ora.
And today we're going to be talking about Takiwātanga, commonly called autism. What is autism to you, Lily?
It's a whole lot of words and explanations that doctors use, I think. But as a mum, autism, or I prefer Takiwātanga, is so unique in the way that our babies see things, hear things, feel things. So it's such a combination of superpowers that we don't actually know how to nurture.
Yeah.
So our babies are born with all these superpowers, and they have different ways on how they view the world, and it's up to us as parents to try and untap them. Not for the child's sake, but for our own understanding and our own way that we would be able to parent our babies. Yeah, and some of them are real cool, and some of them are,
challenging, would you say?
Very challenging. I have 2 children that are on the spectrum for autism.
Okay.
Or Takiwātanga, but they're both really unique in their own superpowers.
So when you say they're both really unique,
The way of how to parent one child, I can't use it for the same. They're just 2 different personalities. They see the world totally different.
Yeah.
One of my children are based solely on smell. So when their superpower is the ability they've got such a strength in smell. They can smell good things and bad things.
Yeah.
so a little bit of social support around those areas, and because the reality society that we live in is based, people judge you. And that was one of the fears, was, are they going to judge my babies because of their uniqueness? People are afraid of what they don't understand.
Well, by saying that, I feel like you're telling me that you have been judged in the past.
Absolutely. When I've got one child, my child, who goes into a public place and he's sniffing seats because his sense of smell is so strong, that's shame, girl. That's like how embarrassing, because I've got this kid sniffing seats. I'm like, come. So it's like, okay, he's got a sense of smell that's really strong. Mm-hmm. So I got him some of the little sensei, and then when he's feeling those urges of wanting to smell things, we've just the lip balms. So you find little things that kind of support his superpower, but it just doesn't bring that same attention that maybe sniffing a seat in public would. So it's just finding all those ways of how to nurture the superpowers, just how to create a life where they can continually move through without feeling those pressures of judgment.
Do people, you say when your son goes in and, sniffs the chair, do people say things to you, or do they just stare?
Sometimes they don't have to say anything. You can see the disgust on their face.
The look on their face.
Yeah, you can see that, and it just makes you feel embarrassed, but it makes you fear for what your baby's going to grow up in, because he can't help it. It's built in, and his sense of smell is a part of him. We can't take it away. But on the other hand, he's really good at baking. So all the different ingredients, the different smells. So he really like, when you put them in places and elements that nurture superpower,
they thrive.
And the judgment doesn't seem to come, because it's it's more, and it's seen more as a positive.
That would make my blood boil, I can tell you now. Like, you're talking adults as well.
Adults, children, like the judgment.
Like,
or even like the way, like if he comes into a room and it's a little bit, he feels like it's unsafe. It's his own superpower telling him like that he's wary of what's going on. That I had my baby who picks up on more aroha, wairua. So when he comes into the room, he senses straight away what people are up to. Like,
oh no, don't want to go near you. You're all right.
And I have to, as a parent, I have to listen to what he's saying, even if he's not verbally saying it. If his wairu is saying that, it's my job to hear that and to respond, you know, and sometimes I'll just go by him and, are you okay? Or what comes to my mum, and then kind of just feel it out from there as to whether he's feeling okay.
So definitely give you signs sometimes without even verbalising it, to be like, hey.
Learn how to read the signs. And like my oldest one was non-verbal for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
4 years. And he was in a kōrero space.
Yeah.
So he loves waiata, he loves music. But there was no, like, he wasn't speaking. There was no verbal words coming for a long time.
Like at all? Like at no all. Mum, dad, nothing?
Just da, mum.
Okay, just limited. Just
really, really limited. Okay. So, me and my husband decided to move him from kōrero. As much as we loved the kaupapa, as much as we wanted him to excel, the priority for us was him to learn how to speak, and it didn't matter what language.
Which I'm sure every other parent would want for their tamariki as well.
Yeah, that was priority for us to know that, you know, we need him communicating so that he can communicate with us, regardless of what language. And our whānau, we're multilingual, so we have English, Māori and Tongan as our main languages.
Wow.
And we thought, maybe it's because we've got so many languages within the home that he was kind of still figuring words out because they were all over the place, you know.
I was going to say, did you think that maybe that could be a barrier, like he so many languages to speak and didn't know which one, or
pick one. So we left it for a while and we thought, okay, let's just see what's going on, and we left it for a while, and it just didn't come. The words just didn't come for him. So we moved him into an ECE at the age of 3.5, 4. And within a month and a half, his language had grown. He was starting to speak.
Like saying more than just mum, dad.
He was actually saying hello. He was saying mum, dad. Like his vocab just started exploding. Like it just was moving really rapidly. We can't shut him up now. Just you know, when you do a good job, you actually probably did it too well. We had to decide, you know, it's about making the decisions for our babies and what's the best path for them, not for us. And one of the teachers came up and they said, we need to have a kōrero about our boy. He seems to be showing some signs of autism.
Okay.
And we didn't know what that was, and of course, fear, boom, straight.
What's a label, isn't it? If you don't know what it is, it's the unknown. Yeah.
And it's your understanding of the information that you've gathered over the time of what autism is. Yeah. Like, you know, what people are saying about it. I was just seeing as, you know, your kid's naughty because they don't listen. They don't.
The play-up kids.
Absolutely, the play-up kid. Him trying to manage his emotions. Like, all of this is the lifelong journeys now, but...
So you just knew only the negatives around what autism is.
I think that's where the grief came in, grief as a parent, because when someone, like you said, when somebody tells you that and then you don't know what to do with that, or you hear this negative stuff, so you're fearful of, you know, all these things that you have dreamt about and all these aspirations that you've wanted for your babies, and then when someone tells you they've got autism, it's like those dreams kind of dash, because it's like it can't be those things that you wanted for them.
You think it's going to stop them
from... that's what it is, your initial reaction, and it's like the loss of something. When parents deal with the loss of a loved one or something, it's like the loss of those dreams and aspirations that you once had. You can't go through anger, bit of a blame game. That's from your side, you know. Did I do? And then yourself, did I do everything? You know, was I safe during pregnancy?
So self-blame,
You know, was I doing the right things?
Yeah.
All of that come to the surface. And
those are some deep emotions as well.
Absolutely, because they're linked to the fear and the grief, because it's all part of the loss, the blame, the anger, all of those things surface. Sometimes they surface quicker than others. Sometimes it takes a long time because acceptance has to come in order for that to start healing. Yeah. So My husband he was like, they're just different.
Yeah.
You know, but it was a little bit harder for us to kind of work through it. And the biggest thing that helped me was that it's not about you, right? It's not about you and what you think is going to happen and all these things. Let that go. Actually focus on the child and see him or her as unique, full of superpowers. And okay, how am I going to support them to be able to handle their superpowers in the future when they get older? So I was taking that journey, and once you release that it's not about me, then it becomes a bit easier to be able to, it just opens up a different eyesight, a different perspective of what can we do to support this baby to be the best version of himself with his superpowers.
And live his very best life, just like every other child gets to.
Exactly. And I think when I look at it in hindsight, whether they're autistic, whether they have neurodiverse or not, that's a really good way to look at how to raise children. They've got superpowers anyway, and to nurture them regardless if they have a disability or not. It's not seen as a disability in Te Ao Māori, it's seen as an asset. And the unique gifts that our babies bring to our Te Ao Māori space, and how they fit into our hapu, how they fit into our iwi. You have to give them that sense of belonging. Once they belong, they thrive.
So when you talk about your tamaiti belonging at the marae, where are their strengths in that? You've talked about one of them loves to cook and stuff, so they found in the kitchen, I'm guessing?
Yeah, most of the time, most of the kids are all found in the kitchen because they're always after something yummy. Sometimes you can pick like their unique, like their powers, right? So, my baby is more wairua kind of focused, so he always kind of moves within his spaces, like wharenui is always saying, and he'll always just he'll lie down and he'll listen. He'll listen to the kōrero and he'll listen to, but he'll also feel what's moving a wairua within the wharenui. So he does that. If he gets friends, then he'll go and sit by them and kind of just mingle, but they're giving them that sense of belonging within the marae or within their culture is key, because it's not just Māori culture, their Tongan culture too, that they move both equally in. So they're really, really keen to get in and help. So I have a peeler for them and a little belt that they put their peeler in. So, you know, when we go to the back, they know they're doing my So they'll go and get a spade, and it's not actually, you know, they'll go get a spade and they'll start there, because that's what I'm teaching them to contribute, to be a part, to do the mahi.
So you're basically saying right there, just because my children have autism does not separate them from any other tamariki at the marae. They can do exactly the same as what their cousins do and everybody else within the whānau. I love that.
He loves singing, so he always tries to get in sing. He's a bit shy because if he doesn't know the words and that, but giving them that confidence just to be present and giving them that hand to actually come into the marae. You know, most of our whānau don't know how to reconnect back in because they don't know where they fit. So taking their hand and guiding them, you know, the tita will always tell you where you fit. Regardless, it'll tell you until you get to another space, but until people see your superpowers in other areas, and then you'll get moved into the specific area. But I always, you know, guide them to, you know, start at the kitchen, do the mahi, and there's opportunities and times to go into those spaces. And that's the same for within the Tongan culture. So we try to nurture it and balance it consistently, so that regardless of where they go, if they go to Tonga, they know how to stand as a Tongan. If they're here in New Zealand, then they know the stand as Māori. Wherever they feel comfortable. I know that some of my kids are more dominant in one. They choose to be more dominant on one side than the other. But that doesn't mean that they don't have the balances, that their heart call is more for one side than the other. So balance is really key to giving them, as part of that empowerment and giving them that support, ensuring that they have a strong identity. Those are like foundational stuff that our babies need to be able to thrive when we're here or when we're not here.
So when you talk about balance and culture, when you found out that, did that balance change at home? Like, whānau dynamics change for you guys as a whole, as a whānau?
Okay, so a shift happened.
Yeah.
Because we then had to figure out how we're going to parent these babies.
Mm-hmm.
We know hardly anything about them. We're still trying to figure out their superpowers.
No instruction manuals.
No, absolutely not. It took a lot of conversation between me and my husband because we're both from different cultures.
Yes.
And so the understanding, autism is not even heard of in Tonga. Like, it's not even.
Oh, really?
No,
okay.
It's not even a thing.
Oh, wow.
But it could be a thing, but it hasn't.
But they don't
been
see it.
recognised.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
so it's not
okay.
seen as that.
Yeah.
So when my husband comes and he's like, no, he's not. I think he doesn't understand, how our society has viewed autism because they don't have that in Tonga.
Yeah. I never actually thought of that. Yeah.
So he's just, oh no, he's just,
he likes this and this is his strength and, he likes that and that's his strength sort of thing.
That's right.
No
and
different.
They're trying to nurture their nurturing. So we had to come up, not with a plan, but an understanding that this is the way that we're going to teach our boys. So we try to teach him balance where he has his role as dad. I have my role as mum, but then we also have like a balance and understanding, like how my babies will go, I'm going with dad. Like they understand. There's an understanding and a respect between us and our babies and the way that we're nurturing them, and that we need both. I need him to balance that and I need to balance this part.
Do you think for yourselves as well, like it can be a bit overwhelming sometimes, so like self-care for you and your husband as well is important?
Oh, absolutely. That's another key foundation, is to ensure that you have time out with your partner or your husband to find that space where it's just you choose, because you need that space to be nurtured as well, or else you're giving out all the time to your babies, and sometimes you're scraping at the bottom of the barrel, and you need those hugs with the cry. You need those. You just need to go and have a good cry. Just
get out of the house, let your hair down and have you guys time.
You need to create that time where it is just you, the both of you as parents. With my boys, they have 2 older brothers.
Okay.
So even for them, finding that space, you finding that space to give that time to them too, because they need just that reassurance and that check-in. You need the check-ins, the quality time. You need to allocate time for the other children within the house, the siblings, because a lot of your time, the reality is, goes to our babies,
and they could, I'm assuming, have really good days some days, and then some days are challenging and very overwhelming.
To have that understanding that the older brother has siblings that are Takiwātanga. What does that mean for him? So having those conversations. My baby, the one that I told you that talks non-stop. That can be really annoying, the older brothers. So, sometimes you hear, get out. It's just, I can't deal. So, find that when you see that kind of just redirecting, reading your whare. What's kind of on the eggshells at the moment, and, and getting the older brothers to understand the way that our babies' minds work. Giving them a bit of information about what their needs are, so that it's a bit easier for them to navigate and understand as well. But actually most of the time they're really good. So when they get to, like, they might have come off a really hard day and then it's like it's about knowing who's in the whare, what's kind of happening with them, and balance is key.
I want to go back and touch on when you moved your tamaiti from Kōrero to ECE learning, and now they are at Kura. What was the process when you said one of the kaiko came and talked to you about that they'd saw some sign? How did that work? Go see somebody to get a diagnosis?
So the centre that I had my baby at, they picked up a couple of signs about that my son was displaying, and they made contact with early intervention support. I never had to pay anything. So the centre did that for me, and we had an early intervention support person just make contact with me, let me know who she was, and that she had received a referral regarding my son, and she was going to come and do a couple of observations in the centre. So that's how that kind of started rolling. She met with us and kind of at the centre, and just inquired about what kind of things we had been noticing, what the centre was noticing. So we had like a hui regarding that. Just put a plan together about what our aspirations and things like were for our baby, and then she started the observations. So she did quite a few observations.
Just of him interacting with other tamariki, or like
so they have a framework that they work on. They're looking at multiple things. Some of them are behaviour, some of them are like self-care skills. They still need toilet training and things like that. Yeah, there was a lot of things in the criteria that they look at. Verbal, language development, so that if there was any need in that, then they could provide support, like a language support people. They could actually bring in supports for those specific areas. So they did those assessments. She asked if we would like to do an AWS. It's like an AWS assessment. So the AWS assessment, from my understanding, is something that will provide support for your babies through to college. So it goes the whole way through. It goes the whole way through in terms of support. It's quite a hard process because the AWS goes on a deficit. Like it looks only at the worst parts of your baby.
Oh, really?
It only looks at the worst possible scenarios so that you get the right support. But the way that the assessment is seen is that you see only what would be the worst scenarios for your babies, so that they can provide the best support for them. Because I think in terms of
that's hard. You know, as a mama, it is,
and that again puts the grief of reading the AWS and having to accept some of the things that they've explained. And you've got to think in the worst scenario, but regardless, you don't ever want to see your kid.
No, you don't.
In that light.
No, you don't.
So I've always questioned, even with MOE, why do you have an assessment that's so, it's not degrading, but it's such a deficit to, it's not seen as a positive. Like, why can't you see them as the positives? But if you saw them as positives, then they wouldn't need any support. You know what I mean? So it's gotta be from the worst scenario for your child, so that you can get the support pretty much.
Like the best benefits that can help, all the resources that can help your tamaiti.
Exactly.
They have to talk about the worst case scenario.
That worst case scenario. So if they do the worst case scenario, then they know what you need at that worst case scenario. Oh yeah, you need a teacher aid. Oh yeah, you need safety things around the classroom. All these things, that's how it's geared. But the initial way that an AWS is assessed, it's really hard on parents. Like it's like you're still just dealing with the fact that he's got some disabilities. But when I look on the other side of being a recipient of AWS for my baby, the amount of resources and the amount of support that is given to your child is amazing. That's how they're able to flourish so well. I think back during the first assessment of AWS, that another grief process that you go through, and the thoughts of, am I doing it for me, or am I doing it for, or are we doing it for the baby? So when you have to ask yourself that when you go through the AWS.
That's very true. That's a very true point.
Your mindset, and then you'll know the answer. You know, when you are honest with yourself and asking those questions. So once we did that, my baby turned 5. He was able to go to primary school. So it's key to make the transitions. We were really lucky because we had a teacher who was with him at ECE. She actually got the job as the TA in the primary school, so she was there with him.
She just walked alongside him straight into the cotta.
Right to the stage. She is still his TA, and she actually is my baby's TA too. So So kind of just, I know, that was just such a blessing, because the transition for him was so much easier because he had that anchor person that
felt
him
safe
through.
and comfortable going into his next space. Oh, that is a blessing.
So once you get to the kura, we're lucky that we have the TA.
Yeah.
But it's also really important to establish that sense of belonging. In the kura, because if you're not feeling safe and you're not feeling like you don't want to be there, if you set that, all the learning comes naturally. But it's that foundation of, I feel safe in here, I feel ready to learn in this space. That's the key to building, and then whatever learning happens on top, that's just growth. That's, you know, they all learn uniquely different.
When they feel safe, that's when they thrive.
So the baseline is give them that sense of belonging within the kura, and they will feel their citizenship, they'll feel their connection to the school, and then the learning is easy because they're safe. You don't ever want your baby to slip through the gaps, which I find that a lot of our whānau do. I have all the people that are connected to my boys on there.
Okay.
So anytime one of my kids are not, I'll just say da-da-da-da-da, it had a really bad sleep. He might be, he's okay to come to school, but he might need a little bit extra lunch or whatever that looks like. And then they'll all respond because we're all on the same page. So then they know what to expect when he comes.
That's actually really great idea. I would never have thought of something like that, but then you're all on the same page. So like you said, if he had a crappy sleep that night and is a bit grumpy or a bit off, that they know and they can go in there and uffy and, you know.
That's right. So everyone that's working with them that day knows. And vice versa, they send me great pictures of my babies.
Oh, I love
what the learning's happening. And, they did this today. Like
all the wee successes and achievements.
So
I love
it's a really great space.
So they're almost like whāngai whānau to you, really, aren't they?
I would say, kia ora whānau, because I'm relying on them to care for my babies. So
and they want the best for your babies, just exactly like you do.
And a lot of the teachers I've known from way back, so I know a lot of them anyway, so we have a really good rapport. So for our parents, you know, make the time to establish those lines of communications with the people that care for your baby. There's a strength in the village, right, in terms of raising, and this is what my baby's village is looking like in the kura space.
You're spot on when you say, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, because I'm sure every bloody parent has their own village and needs that as well.
It's more than one village. We've got one village at the kura, we've got one in our Tongan community, we've got one at the marae. That's why the marae is so beautiful in the way that it works, because it's a combination of young and old. And knowledge, and it's all learning. You know, all these things that that make it real special, and your babies are benefiting from those. You know, there is power in what we call our pipi, and you take responsibility for that when you name them. So I just wanted to mention that about ingoa and the power of ingoa, and that you can allow or not allow names to be put on your baby, you know, like the labels, like the autism, ADHD, all these things that have, when you speak, words have power, right? So when you're saying, oh no, you're just autistic, you're actually saying, you're breathing that understanding into your baby, that you are that. You're naughty, and you're almost like telling that kid that's what they are. And when you understand that, it's important to shift your understanding. You're brave, you're amazing, you're an awesome dancer, you're a great listener. When you start to empower your baby through the words that you say, it changes them, it sits on them like a korowai.
I get what you mean about the label. Once you say it, it's just said, and that's not who. And then that's not who your babies are. You know? And that's that judgment. People not almost understanding, like they have no idea unless they've walked in your shoes or any other parent's shoes. We've talked about judgment from other people. Sometimes people are just ignorant in society. Not all children fit into a clean cut box, and I think that that's something that really needs to be said in the black and white of it. This is what it is. Not every child is the same.
Absolutely. I'm happy to start that conversation.
Good on you. Well, I just wanted to mihi to you for coming in today, sharing your journey, and I hope to everybody listening that you can take something away from this, whether you're that parent that doesn't know, that might judge out in society, and that you've learned something from this today. How much aroha you have for your tamariki and your whānau, and I love that. And like you said, you know, your village and the superpowers. The superpowers that your tamariki have should be so excited to share about and proud of.
So I'm doing a good job, I think.
You are. You're doing a bloody good job.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. It's been a joy just, talking about my journey, and I can't wait to share more.
Well, ngā mihi, Lily. And to all of the whānau who have tuned into today's podcast, I hope that you have been able to take something away from Lily's kōrero. We'll catch you on the next episode of Mangu and Mā.